Hi. So I want to talk about this book real quick. Ouch. This is The Courage to Be Disliked. This book takes the format of a dialogue. It's a conversation between a young person and the philosopher, with the young person in the book just named the youth and the philosopher named philosopher. So the conversation between these two is about how happiness is very much in your controls and certain topics that relate to that. And because the philosopher is the one that is receiving the questions from the young person and answering them, it's very much a good assumption to make that the philosopher is the one person that we are supposed to be getting knowledge from. It's the one person that we're supposed to be learning certain lessons from. But I find that I also learned some things from the young person, particularly from how he reacts to certain things that the philosopher says. For instance, the chapter that I'm currently reading is titled You Are the Only One Worrying About Your Appearance, in which the philosopher tells a story of his friend whom, when he was in his teenage years, would spend so much time in front of a mirror arranging his hair until his grandmother told him that you are the only one worrying about your appearance. So a thing that I learned from the philosopher, right, is his reaction to this story. He immediately gets defensive and says that's a dig at me, which is like he's just telling a story. He didn't know you were insecure about that. But I want to talk about how you can also find people like this in your everyday life. You can just be telling a story, you can just be having a conversation with this person, and because that's a deep insecurity of them, it doesn't even have to be deep, but then that's because it's a point of insecurity for them. They would think that you're talking about them or secretly taking a dig at them. I personally find people like this to be a little bit to be around, because you can't have conversations with those people without them thinking that certain things that you're talking about is a dig at them. And I find it to be ironic because in this very same chapter, the philosopher talks about people who are always in competition with other people. He talks about how those certain people are always on guard because they see people as their enemies. They think that the world is full of people that are just out to get them. So I just find it to be funny that he would react like this to a story that has nothing to do with him, but has more to do with the context of the topic that they're talking about. But anyway, before I go, let me recommend you this book. I highly recommend this book. This book has changed my life, literally. It has changed the way that I think about certain things. Definitely, it has changed my mind, how I think about happiness and how happiness is in everybody's control. Exactly. So bye.